Hello and welcome to BrotherlyGame.com Roundtable on Zoom. I'm your host, Matt Ralph. I'm the managing editor of BrotherlyGame.com, and I'm super excited to be joined by three guests today from the college, two players from the college soccer world, a very familiar face, and one we're looking forward to getting to see play again, Bri Austin from Villanova women's soccer team, Kris Shakes from Penn State, and of course, we're joined by Brotherly Game contributor and Penn State grad, Greg Oldfield. How's it going, everybody?
Good.
I'm good. Really good.
Hello, everyone. It's going good.
So, Bri, I want to start with you. We're going to start closest to home here, Villanova, right up the street from where I live, and I'm looking forward to when the time comes when I can go to games again with my children and cheer you on. But just in terms of, it's been a really long time since you've been on the pitch. How are you feeling looking at a schedule now and knowing, hey, we will hopefully have, X amount of games to play here in the spring?
Yeah, no, overall, the team's very excited that our schedule finally got released. We've been up the coaches' trees, asking them when they're going to release that, but finally we got that. It's just been exciting to get back on the field, honestly, with the whole team. I mean, last fall we were able to train in pods, but nothing really too serious. So it's been exciting to be back with the team, back on the field. We've been doing inter-team squads, like inter-squad scrimmages, really. The energy's been great since we've gotten back, and I think we're all just super excited to finally play someone. I'm sure Kris's team is feeling the same way.
Yeah, Kris, and how's it feeling just kind of knowing you have a schedule out there? I mean, the Big Ten schedule is a Big Ten schedule. It's not, you don't get as many of those non-conference games like the Bucknells or whatever on the schedule this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's very motivating, I would say, in my part. I mean, we've been training together since the fall, but not having a schedule in the fall and our season getting terminated in the fall, I mean, it did bring us down a little bit, but I mean, getting the motivation from each other, picking everyone back up in training every day, finding something to look forward to, you know what I mean? So the schedule coming out in the spring, I mean, it's very motivating. It gives us all a little uplift, and we're just looking forward to getting some games together now because we've been training for some time now, but the game aspect is what we're looking for, and we're excited to get to.
And Greg, how you feeling seeing, I mean, MLS season's a little bit of ways away with April hopefully being the start date. We have some other, leagues that are going to be starting as well. But to see, kind of see these schedules coming out and seeing that we're going to have an official spring college season this year, what do you think about that?
I think it's exciting. I mean, it's different, I'm sure, for Bri and Kris. You'd agree. I mean, you're used to that preparation in the fall. You're used to having like a preseason in the summer where it's hot, and now you're having a preseason with snow on the ground. Feet of snow on the ground. So I mean, it's got to be strange, but it's exciting. I'm happy for both of them that they get a chance to get a season in, and I think we'll see what happens with the start of the pro seasons. I mean, you may end up getting a bigger spotlight on the college game, which I think is great for the spring. It's something, you're just not used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of spring college soccer just because it's you get to see teams trying things out with their exhibition schedule, and you get to see games you wouldn't normally see. But I'm especially excited that these local programs, because the ACC got to play a season, I guess with some SEC teams as well. And but here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, we were pretty much completely locked out of soccer at the college level. Kris, in terms of when you think back to a long time ago when you were a first year showing up on campus, you kind of got you got that experience of where Greg mentioned your introduction to college is showing up and training, and then the college thing starts for you. When you look back at that first season and, getting an opportunity to play as a first-year player, as a goalkeeper, when you look back on that being so long ago now, how do you kind of build on that since there's been so much time in between your seasons at this point?
Yeah, I mean, building on top of it, the first season that I had here back in 2019 was very beneficial for me as a player, coming in as a young player as well. And our class in general is very young. Like my class in Penn State, we have a lot of sophomores. And so getting that first year, it really gave us a lot of experience. And yeah, since then, I feel like our team's been molding from our class, not only from our class, but from our upperclassmen and everything. But I think for me, myself, it's been really good, just to know I have that experience under my belt and coming into this spring, just knowing everything that we had before, it was still very good, you know what I mean? So having that experience means really a lot. And now we have to give it to our freshmen, and our freshmen have to build off what we know and what we had last year. And to go from there, that's how we're going to be successful, is just everyone getting on the same page and our veterans on our team helping our rookies out, and just throughout the team being on the same page,
Bri, what's experience been like for you, kind of having such a long time in between seasons, and then kind of looking at yourself as one of the leaders of this team, and trying to kind of keep everyone together when you've been, your team is separated in terms of hometowns by a lot of mileage between across your roster. What's that experience been like, and kind of just trying to maintain that team aspect when you haven't been able to play for so long?
Yeah, that's a great question. Given the restrictions we've had on our campus, it was pretty tough to even train as a team last semester, So we were able to train in small pods, 4 to 5 people, but even then that's like impossible to teach tactics to, especially to the incoming players. So I think that was the biggest shift for me. Being an upperclassman, we would spend preseasons drilling tactics into the players, at least the coaches would. And I think that's what I saw the biggest shift in with this past fall season. A lot of the incoming players didn't really understand the tactics. So me and the other captain, Sam Rosette, we decided to do like little small Zoom meetings where we could teach the girls what they need to know on and off the field about our team. And that took place during winter break. So even though we were all at home, we were still coming together once a week to discuss any new things that were going on, and then the tactics that we have of our team. So that's basically what we've been doing to keep the team environment.
And Greg, you follow college sports. I think it's impossible to attend Penn State and not become a college sports fan, in addition to being a soccer guy. What did you kind of learn, kind of watching, sort of observing what has transpired with college sports, and how the leagues have been able to figure out how to do this in the pandemic?
I think it's definitely taken time, you saw some of the leagues try to do this in the fall, and obviously, a lot of the local schools kind of held off. So, I think the learning experience, you kind of watch and see what happens in the fall. You kind of adjust, and you learn from the others who did it before us. What worked, what didn't work, and I think that probably is to Villanova and Penn State's benefit this spring, where you have a season now that is it might not be a complete season, but it's as many games as possible. And you're doing it in the safest way possible, because you kind of have seen what's worked and what hasn't worked before. So that I think that's a good sign that we'll probably get most of the games in. And, that's what you want. As a player, you don't want to end up playing 3 or 4 games and then having your season shut down. And then, I think it's with the college students, you got some of you are graduating, you got seniors that are, they're almost done. And, you don't want to end up pushing the season until May and June, and you want to get it done. So hopefully there's been some experiences from the fall that a lot of the schools now, when they start, they can kind of take those positives away and get that complete season in, which I think is good for everybody.
Some ways, like thinking about the college during a pandemic, I have no idea what that's like. But one of the things I thought about is that maybe it's better for people who haven't experienced life at college before. Kris got a little taste of that. What's it like in terms of being a captain on the team and sort of setting, being charged with setting an example for the players, and helping them to kind of deal with a lot of the things that everyone's been dealing with off the field, during kind of just with everything that's happening, and making sure that everybody's like kind of doing what they need to do to keep the team able to practice and able to play.
Yeah, I would say overall it has been a very big transition from other years that we've had in college. Obviously, the social life is completely 180, completely different. We try and tell the girls that we will hang out like all together instead of going out to social events, which you can't really stop people from going to, but everyone makes their sacrifices and we do what we need to do to stay as a team. As for the resources, we get tested twice a week, so that's pretty fortunate for us to be able to do. In classes, some of us have in-person classes, some of us are online, so it depends. It varies person to person. So we all just make decisions that we know at the end of the day is going to benefit our team, and just wish for the best.
What have you kind of seen from the program? And I immediately, when I saw the schedule, I saw North Carolina on there and got excited. That's a big name school to get on the radar there. But what's been the experience for you, and what do you see out of this program, and how things have kind of improved and or maybe changed for the better since you were being recruited back however many years ago that is now?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Honestly, every year we see improvements. It started out pretty small, but you keep bringing in more girls that are eager and are ambitious, and you just see the program blossom even more, and it's super exciting to see. As for our schedule, we have a couple of Philly schools on there too, so we're pretty excited about that. UNC, of course, we're excited for hosting them. Was going to be a great experience. Hopefully we could get fans in by the time that game comes around. All the players are super eager, super excited to get on the field. So no matter who the competition is, we're just excited to be back on the pitch.
Kris, kind of a similar, sort of different, but somewhat similar story at Penn State, in that there were, the team was kind of down, and there's been a lot of improvements since Jeff Cook took over as head coach. And one of the things that certainly will stand out to our listeners and our readers on Brotherly Game is all of the connections to the Philadelphia Union Academy. You have more friends who are joining you with this season with Femi and Daniel and everybody coming in. What's that been like to kind of see the progress that's being made, even just since you were being recruited, and kind of considering and weighing your options of where to go to college. What's that experience been like?
The growth in the program itself in the last few years has been just impeccable since Jeff's been here. He's been him and the staff have been trying and been doing their best to make Penn State a premier soccer program where you can be a performer on the field and also get your education off the field, So with all those guys joining me, Daniel, Tiger, Femi, all those boys, it's really good to see them come in here hungry and see them get better every single day. And it's just literally an unbelievable experience, just getting better with everyone, and just knowing that everyone's going down the right path. And at the end of the day, we all have a goal, whether it's you want to be a professional soccer player, whether you want to be a businessman, whatever it is. But just seeing everyone benefit on and off the field is really an indescribable experience, just being with all these guys and just going up with them,
Yeah, I'm sure there's something about familiarity with coming from a similar program where you kind of know there's certain things about each other, which can be good and could be bad things sometimes. Maybe too much sometimes if there's any conflict within the team. But it's cool. It's definitely cool to sort of see that connection as well. I kind of see Penn State now as we got a lot of our local people there, so we're gonna pull for them as well. But the other thing that has a lot, I feel like a lot's happened since both of your teams played competitive games. It's been almost a year since you've really been able to play. The spring season didn't happen either. And a lot of things have happened, aside from the pandemic, but just, in terms of a lot more awareness of, the protests that happened as a result of, George Floyd's murder, just a lot of things in terms of people recognizing, things that have existed for a really long time that aren't new, but that particularly in soccer, we've seen a lot of teams kind of coming together to make statements. I'm just curious from your perspective, Bri, as a leader of that team, is this something that you've talked about when these things are happening, and how do you as kind of a player, look at these types of issues that come up, and how do you kind of bring a team together around discussing how this sort of impacts you personally, but just globally around the game?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. Basically, since the protests have been starting, it raised a lot of conversation within our team, a lot of uncomfortable conversations, but they needed to happen. We've basically been doing modules as a team where we go through the basic stuffs and start building up to more deeper topics, and just getting to know one another, how each person feels about the situations, and just getting comfortable with understanding that everyone might not have the same opinion as you, but we're still teammates in the end. So that was a pretty difficult time for our whole team. I think it was more difficult because it was on Zoom and we're all just talking through a screen, but we definitely made through it. It was definitely a lot of adversity, but we've made it through it. And I think our team is stronger together now.
And for you, Kris?
Yeah, I agree with everything Bri just said, but yeah, it is about having those uncomfortable conversations that you need to have, because not everyone knows how it feels to be in another person's shoes, especially a person of another race. And so coming together on Zoom during all those tough times, it really was beneficial, I would say. And just discussing stories, just about knowing everything, because you can never know too much about this certain topic, so it's always good to come in with all ears and just have your own opinion. But at the end of the day, we are still a team, and we are fighting for the same things, for equal quality. And at the end of the day, we do have a goal. Our goal, we have three chances to win a championship, and to even have a chance at any of those, we all have to be together as one and one big family. So yeah, those conversations were needed to be put in place, but I think we got through it pretty well, and we got through it together as a family.
Yeah, one of the things, for me, I don't, I try to listen more than talk about the subject of racism in sport and just in general. But I think one of the things that's been, for me, has been really, really awesome to see is young people like yourselves, playing a role in this, and within a team culture, these are types of things that can tear a team apart if there isn't understanding, and there isn't at least a willingness to kind of try to hear each other out, and to listen to the the perspectives and stuff. And so I think even from the Philadelphia Union perspective of getting particularly white players to wear the names of victims of police brutality on their jerseys, because they were players they didn't know, or people they didn't know about before, stories they hadn't heard. I think even just that, those kinds of things are so important for for teams to be able to discuss, because it is right. You're as a team, you're so much more than just what you're doing on the field. It's the whole aspect of that. I'm curious too for both of you as players kind of coming up in the game. It is Black History Month. I'm curious if there's a player that, or a mentor or a coach or somebody that you saw that kind of made you think, hey, there's someone I want to emulate. Or
I don't have any professional players that come to mind, but there is a track athlete here, Danielle Burns. She's been doing so much work to get all this diversity and inclusion across the board, and to get everyone on the same page. And honestly, if it wasn't for her, most of these modules wouldn't be functioning. She kept conversation going. She made these uncomfortable conversations happen. And I think she's done a lot of work for all the athletic programs and not just her team herself. So I would say it would be.
Kris, is there anyone for you that stands out?
I would for sure have a lot of people in my life that stand out, just in my sense of coming from a big academy, Philadelphia Union. But when it comes to this conversation, I mean, a name that really sticks out to me is Mark McKenzie. I know you're pretty familiar with Mark, but I mean, I just respect everything he does. I mean, he goes professional about everything that's off the field, whether it's about having an uncomfortable conversation, like he's the man to talk to, like he really has his priorities in check and he just knows what he wants and he speaks what he believes is true, so that's a big role model for me. And to see where he's come to from the academy, to see where he is now in Belgium, playing for a Division I team, in Belgium, like that's absurd to me. And I mean, that's more of the footsteps I'd like to follow is from Mark. And yeah, that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from, and what I believe in is because of that guy right there. So cheers to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the really neat experiences is you're interviewing Mark after these big moments in his life, and he's like, "Hey guys, before I say anything else about the game, I want to mention this issue, right?" I mean, and I feel like that's one of the things Mark has been really consistent throughout, certainly, I mean, throughout his career, but just where he's got a platform, he's like, I'm going to use this to speak out for what I believe in and what's important to me. And we'll talk about soccer after that's done, kind of thing. And Greg got a chance to experience that as well. The Mark McKenzie moments, which were have been so special to sort of follow, with the team and everything. So yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of people who share in that, Kris.
This season is going to be kind of unlike any other you've probably had. Like I was saying earlier, you're used to starting a preseason in the summer, and now you're basically, you were on break, maybe you were in school during the break, and then you kind of start back in a season. So what's the plan in terms of weather-wise? Like right now we have a foot of snow on the ground here. Are you playing your games inside? Are you training outside? I mean, how's that working right now? Because it's kind of one of those things, I guess you didn't have that problem in the summertime when you were about to start a season. So are the games right now scheduled outside? Are they scheduled inside?
For us, they're outside. So our solution's just lots and lots of layers. It's actually funny. Today we got a text to get out to the fields at 7:30, and we got there and the fields are covered in at least 9 inches of snow. So that didn't work out too well. But the weather has been pretty tough for some players, especially us from southern states where it's always warm. But I think everyone's adapting well. I mean, no one's complaining in practice about the weather. We're all just putting our heads down and getting to work, And I think overall, we're all just pretty excited to get back into the game setting. So how about you guys, Kris?
For us in particular, I mean, recently we've been indoors just because of how much snow's been on the ground and stuff. But our field, we have grass fields, but we can't really play on them right now because the grass is pretty frozen up, So we've been training. Most of our training sessions have been in the indoor football facility. It's called Haluba. And so we've been in there. We've been training there, doing all our running. We've been lifting there. Haven't been lifting anywhere else, we've been doing everything at the field. So as of right now, I mean, it's not 100% sure what we're doing, if we're going to be playing outside on turf or if we're going to be inside on turf. But if I had a choice, I would love to be inside. Don't get me wrong, being from Florida and all, but yeah, I think our indoor field is a good environment for teams to come in, and they don't really know how it is, Not a lot of teams are training indoor. We just have a very big privilege, I would say, and we're blessed to have the opportunities to be doing what we can indoors. But I mean, as of now, I hope we're not outside, but if we are, it shouldn't be too big of an adjustment, because we're all doing what we could do to just be able to compete in games. So whether it's inside or outside, it doesn't really matter to us, and we're gonna be ready to kick off on February 19th.
Yeah, it just occurred to me, Bri, when there was a photo posted, I think earlier today on Twitter, of the snow, and I'm like, oh wait, yeah, that's that's right. That becomes a little more challenging, certainly for I think this is probably the most snow that either of you have seen, right, since you've been up here.
My freshman year there was a really bad blizzard.
Okay.
But yeah, this has been pretty bad. So.
And does it snow more out in State College, Greg, or?
It snows every day from November till May, right, Kris? I mean, it snows all the time. But my two roommates from Penn State were both from Florida, so we used to laugh at them all the time. The first winter, I mean, they were wearing like everything. They were bundled up layer after layer, and we're like, oh, it's 50 degrees out, you're all right, come on. But no, it's definitely adjustment too, and that was kind of the other thing I wanted to ask you too, is about the travel, because you're so used to going to a Big Ten game, or probably going to a Big East game, going the night before, staying in a hotel, playing the game the next day. What's the travel situation like? Are you guys just doing an up and back on a bus, or is there a plan to stay over in a hotel when you have to travel those farther games?
Yeah, so for us, I think it depends on how far the game is, what time the game is, and that's basically it. So I know we're going to be staying overnight for a couple of trips, but not like if we were to drive to Georgetown, I think we're driving right back after the game. So I think it just depends on where the game is at, basically. And I don't think we're taking any flights. It's all on the coach bus. So
I think it's the same way here. I mean, considering we're going to Indiana and Michigan, I think, on a few-day road trip, I think we're going to be spending maybe 1 or 2 nights at most each place that we go, if we do stay somewhere. But for the most part, if we're going anywhere under 7 hours, I would say, I think we're just going there and coming right back the same day. Just do it all in one day, get it over with. But yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% on that, but I think that's how it's looking right now. It's just more of a lot of bus trips instead of flying these days. So whatever keeps our safety best in hands, can't complain about it, but we're just hyped up about it just to get going, get started.
Well, and the other thing, I think both Big Ten, Big East schedules, right, is you're actually playing teams twice, right? Like a home and away, where normally you might not play them twice, or maybe that's different, Big Ten versus Big East. But what is there anything different on that aspect of the schedule?
So for us, they basically broke the conference up in a West and East side. So the West side will play, then the top two, I believe, will go on to the tournament, and then the East side will play the top two, will go on to the tournament, and then that's how they're gonna figure out the Big East champion. So yeah, it is different. We're gonna be playing each team or half of the teams twice. That's not unusual for our seasons. Definitely gonna make the scouting reports easier, but we'll see how it goes.
And for you, Kris, is that a similar thing they're doing in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think the setup is very similar. I mean, we're playing most teams in our conference twice. First game home and then next game away. But I mean, just for what I know off the top of my head, I know that we have 3 chances to win a championship. One is just the regular season in general, just having the best record. Whoever finishes first, top of the table, gets that championship, so that's what we're looking forward to. Second one is the Big Ten tournament, which is after all our games, but just pretty much a seeding setup, and then you just play first game, second game, quarterfinals, third game, semifinals, So I think it's involved in that setup. And then the third one is the NCAA. I don't know how that's all going to work out at the end of the day, but I mean, if we're looking forward to getting there, I mean, we're going to have a long shot at it. We're going to do everything we can. If we have the opportunity to be there, then we're going to try to take it.
Yeah, I mean, hope all the best for you this season. Hopefully you get all your games in, and Kris, you get to beat up on some of your friends you'll be playing against. I know you got Nick on your schedule. You got some other people from around the conference you'll be playing against. But thanks so much for joining in, and I can't wait. Bri, to be back at a game with my kids, and we'll be cheering you on from the stands there whenever that happens. So thanks so much.
Awesome, Matt. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Kris and Greg, nice meeting you guys.
It was nice meeting you. Good luck this year.
Thank you.